Buddha taught Ahimsa, meaning nonviolence. What's taught in Vedic knowledge is because Buddha took birth in India as and a great teacher, wonderful. And how it's taught is that the Vedic priests had become meat killers, sacrificers, and eaters, which was like an complete aberration somehow. And so who came along then, in a sense, was Lord Buddha, to teach the cause of suffering was violence. And that suffering was also a mental state, but it was also in what we did. And he was a staunch vegetarian and taught vegetarianism. There was the unity churches around the world. They're wonderful. And the Fillmores, who were the founders, were staunch vegetarians. And then you see, and then I would call the true Christians and true Hebrews were actually vegetarians. Do your research. And then, when coming along, and somehow the influence of the sacrificing of an animal of blood to some god that's going to give you something, like what? Who can give you what you don't have already? All it can do is convince you that you don't have it. So what is here is to remove the self-doubt with self-knowing, self-realization, self-actualization, self-activation, which is the self of every self would be the supreme self, super self. It's called Paramatma in Sanskrit, the super soul. The soul of every soul is the grand soul, of which we are all part of, and you could tell there is the grand soul because we are souls, spiritual souls, expressing in this particular form. So and then what you perceive and see is how people have given up these vegetarian practices, but also we begin to realize as those things happen, more and more plagues would also happen, diseases, more and more atrocities, and cruel governments and leaders, and all of these kind of things were then, it was like everything in a sense a deteriorating effect. But actually it would be a dumbing down, you might say, of our original authentic consciousness that is our divine nature. And consciousness, according to the teaching of the Vedas and the Bhagavad Gita and such, and it's all you find that it's in the Essene teachings. Truth is truth, and once you know truth, you perceive it. And yet oftentimes there'll be some truth, and then on top of that come all the lies that then people begin to say, and then it was part of it. And then if you don't accept the lies, then you're of this and that, a heretic, and you're going to, H-E-double-L-L or whatever. And what happens is, this is all terrorizing the mind. The mind, remember, is the greatest terrorist weapon ever invented. Because then people use it against themselves. It becomes self-perpetuating. So you have to stop it and complete it. And so immediately we take a look at the causes and the effects, and the things of what's going on, what's happening. It doesn't happen by accident. And what's taught in the Vedas, also in the great teachings of the mystics and such, is that what comes back, the karma of the killing of animals, for whatever, and also eating them, or so I didn't kill them in a little package, yeah, right, and buying them and eating them, however, is war on humanity, that they war on each other, because it's ingesting in a divine body, or this physical, that which is the body can't even handle or take. It's not. It goes berserk and bizarre. So it's like it sets almost the person up to the believing of the fear-based mind, and guilt and shame and all that, because it's so deep. So this ahimsa, and to see how many people don't even practice that say they practice these different things because they've labeled themselves that. But when you get down to the very basic of no killing, of nonviolence, and the first one is to stop being violent on yourself, and that self-punishing that keeps us in a continual state, has been, not now, of the fear and the doubt and the insecurity and the grudges and the consciousness, and that all of this, which takes us further and further away from the divine, and more, in a sense, lost and lonely, when we were part of the divine, and always will be, because of who we are. So ahimsa is nonviolence. Now, it doesn't mean I'm not going to swat a mosquito, but I'm telling you, don't come near me. And then I put lotion on, not that kind, but essential oils that the little critters don't like. And also, they don't like catnip. So it's been growing right by the porch where I like to sit in the summer, and I don't have mosquitoes because they don't like catnip, and it's a mint. See? So you begin to see how things are operating. And what we tend to want people on, just kill it or get rid of it, or eat it, or whatever it is. This is called been lost. And the saving means save us from this repetitive state. And it comes with knowledge that we can then apply as steps, as clues, to help us get to home again, to be and who we are. And it's just taking a look at, where is there violence? Even the thoughts. And you take a look at, what do you do that for? And say these horrible things about yourself and others. What does that do for you? You take a look at it. You're a God. Why do you do it? What are you doing it for? People aren't afraid of their power, of how really great they are. It's not about that at all. People are afraid to die. People are afraid to pain and suffering, to be punished, all of this kind of thing. So the key then is to stop being violent on yourself or doing violence to anyone else. There can be accidents, of course, but you don't call it an accident, and then you define what an accident is, and then change the definition to now support the cruel, evil thing that you want to do. Yeah. So if you want to have it be easy street, the go with the flow ride, the real work you could do for your eternal pleasure, ever expanding and opening and realizing. Ahimsa means kindness.